What up, everyone? It's the DCEU podcast, man. And in this podcast, I got some major news for all you fans of the DC Extended Universe. First off, the plot to the upcoming Flash movie has been dropped, and it says that the plot is going to consist of, well, basically from the Flashpoint paradox. If you haven't read the graphic novel, it's when the Flash goes into the Speed Force to travel back in time to prevent his mother's death, but in doing so, he rewrites history. And so all the things that were supposed to play out didn't, or it was the exact opposite. For example, instead of Bruce's parents dying in Crime Alley, it was Bruce Wayne, and his dad became Batman and his mom became Joker. Now, this story is going to be adapted for this movie, but it will not be very accurate to the original story. Now, he will travel back in time to prevent his mother's death, but Flash will end up in the 1989 Batman universe. Batman will be married to Catwoman for over 30 years, becoming easily angered and easily provoked. They will start off as enemies first before they eventually put their differences aside and try to team up together to go back in time to fix everything and stop the Reverse Flash. And you might have guessed, at the end he will return to his original timeline, but everything will change. This will act as a soft reboot for the franchise since, as I've said before, it's got off to a very, very, very rocky start. But this will be interesting to see because not only does this mean we're getting Michael Keaton back as Batman, but we might get Michelle Pfeiffer back as Catwoman. And with those two being married for 30 years, this can lead to one of two things. From the comics, we'll either see Bruce Wayne's son, Damian Wayne, or his daughter, Helena Wayne. Now, Helena is supposed to be the biological daughter of both Batman and Catwoman, but, not every movie and show is accurate to the comics, so they could change it and make Damian in the son of Catwoman and Batman. Whether or not we'll see either one of them as the new protector of Gotham remains to be seen, given the plot only mentions about how Batman and Flash will be teaming up, but they might show up in the movie. We'll have to wait for another year or two to finally see them. Sadly, it was supposed to be next year, but stupid coronavirus, we had to wait an extra year. But one thing I look forward to is that since this will initially be a reboot of the franchise, one thing that I'm excited to see is that this might mean that we will see Robin, because it was confirmed that the Robin that was killed in Batman vs. Superman, or we saw his suit, was Dick Grayson Robin. Now, this was interesting because in the comics it's supposed to be Jason Todd who was killed by the Joker, but in the DC Extended Universe, they made it Dick Grayson who was killed. So, by rebooting the franchise, we'll probably get to see him alive, and maybe we'll see, like, the other Robins sometime. And of course, this is going to connect to all the changes that are to come in the franchise, like the new Batman, and it was also going to explain in the Snyder Cut versus the original version of Justice League, multiverses and all. And rebooting this franchise, maybe Cyborg will get a proper beginning, because it was cool seeing him in Justice League, but I think we're entitled to see like an actual origin story. I mean, they could do it like they did Aquaman, like bring him in first and then show his past in his solo, but I think I speak for a lot of people when I say that I want to have seen his solo first and then the team up. Another big piece of news for all you DC fans out there is that there's been rumored that there will be a live-action Batman Beyond movie. Super excited for that. Now, it doesn't say whether or not that it will be in the DC Extended Universe, though I'm severely hoping for it. But there is a theory online that suggests that the Flash movie sets up Michael Keaton as old Bruce Wayne for Batman Beyond. because, you know, he's old now and he once played Batman, so it's very fitting. And the DC Extended Universe is going to expand on multiverse concepts after The Flash. So yeah, it's very possible that he will appear in the DCEU, you know, some kind of crossover or Crisis on Infinite Earths movie. Maybe at some point he'll make some kind of cameo. We'll have to wait and see, because there's no further news about this. There's just a rumor for now. But if they do a Batman Beyond movie, I still watch it, no matter whether or not it's in the DC Extended Universe, because this was a really cool version of Batman. It was from a cartoon that came out in the early 2000s, where it showcased like years in Gotham have passed, and the original Batman, Bruce Wayne, has gone into retirement, become an old man, but taken up a new protege to carry on the mantle of Batman. And we witness like that protege, aka Terry McGinnis, like try to fill in the footprints left behind by his predecessor, which is which has been an epic struggle when it comes to trying to juggle his school life with his personal life, with his superhero life. But the upcoming Flash movie could also set the stage to introduce other DC universes into the DC Extended Universe, or, you know, have crossovers with them. One I'm hoping for is the DC Animated Universe. It started with Batman the Animated Series and went up all the way until the Zeta Project. And just like the DC Extended Universe, it was a bunch of different superhero shows connected into one singular universe. So yeah, it'd be cool to see some kind of crossover between the Extended Universe and the Animated Universe. Maybe it could be like the current Justice League from the DC Extended Universe, like, travels through the dimensions, end up in the animated one, and, you know, just get a brief glimpse of their animated selves, and then move on to the next multiverse, and then move on to the next universe. And one last big piece of news I want to share with all of you is that it's rumor right now, so don't get your hopes up too high, but there is a rumor online about a live-action Zatanna movie being produced for the DC Extended Universe, of a live-action Zatanna movie. And just like with Batman Beyond, there's no specific information about whether or not it'll be in the DC Extended Universe, although from what I've read, it looks like it might be. And for those of you who don't know, Zatanna is a hero who uses magic. She poses as just your average, everyday kind of magician, but all of her magic tricks are actual magic, not smoke and mirrors. Her first DC debut was in 1964 in Hawkman #4, and a lot of her magic spells she will usually say backwards, but they are still very powerful. And, well, obviously she will be a member of the Justice League, but she's also a part of the Justice League Dark, which is, you know, another Justice League team, but deals with magic users. So, giving her own standalone movie would be interesting twist, because most of the comics we see her in, she's mostly teamed up. So I like to see like how they handle giving a character like that a solo film, because just like with Guardians of the Galaxy, I guess this is like one kind of standalone movie no one really asked for, but if done correctly, could end up being better than we expect. So I'm really hoping to both watch it and that they can do the best they can with it, and not fall short on what could be a epic movie like they did with Justice League and Suicide Squad. Well, that's it for this podcast. This is the DCEU Podcast Man signing off, and want to remind you to hit like and follow me and subscribe to my channel. And remember, you can listen to me on other podcast platforms like Spotify. Thank you and goodbye.